Welcome to another Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous. I'm Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, and this is episode. You know what? I'm not doing that anymore. And there's a reason for that. I looked at what I was doing. I was building a page that had a lot of diverse content on it. Yes, there was Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous and Let's Pew Pew, which could have been either Elite Dangerous or Star Citizen. There was Five for Ben Lesnick. There was State of the Game. There was my special reports, and then there was a bunch of other things like Kerbal Space Program, World of Tanks, and it started to get diluted, right? Because I really want you all to be able to have an easy time at finding my Star Citizen content. But at the same time, I don't want you not to be able to find my content that I do outside of that, because who knows, maybe you'll actually like some of that stuff. So I fought with this for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I got accepted to have a YouTube show, which probably happened years ago and I didn't know about it, or it might have just happened. I'm not sure. But what that means is that I could dump all my Star Citizen content into another link where there'll be all the new stuff that comes up. You'll be able to search videos that I've assigned to it and the playlists. And they're broken down by season. Season 1, 2, and 3. 2013, 2014, 2015. All of the content gets dumped into each season, so you'll get a mix of everything, but I think that's what you all want. And there's a lot of you that want to get the stuff off of the page, so you just have Star Citizen content, while there's some of you that want to have all of my stuff. Well, I have made it easy for both of you, and that's what we're going to be doing in the future. So the link was up here and the page was up here while I was talking. Let's move into the second subject, and that's today. Today has been one of my wildest and busiest last 24 hours in a long time. Last night, Five for Ben Lesnick. I interviewed Ben late yesterday afternoon. I edited it and put it up, and then today I interviewed Eric Wingman Peterson and then David Haddock. Oh my lord, I'm becoming the interview queen around here, right? Eric's interview is very important to me and to a lot of you because he was an integral part of that early Star Citizen environment that we were brought into. And, you know, Wingman's Hangar was a very important piece of the merchandising or the marketing behind the early days of Star Citizen, which has now become Around the Verge, which is equally, if not a lot better. But Eric has that charisma, that amazing boyish charm, and he decided not to move to Santa Monica when Chris called all the lieutenants home, and has opened his own game company called Descendant Studios. So I just want to give you an opportunity right at the beginning of the show to see one question that I'm going to be posting up there in my normal feed, which is why I was talking about this in the beginning, why I separated everything. Eric's new game is going to have a Kickstarter that should be starting relatively soon. I'm not privy to that information, or maybe I am, but I'm not going to tell you, and that's the way we're going to keep it. But they're going to have a Kickstarter soon, and if you go and you search the web, you'll find out what this is all about. But I support him, and I want you guys to get an idea of what his game is about. And I'm going to point you to that interview, which should be airing right about 24 hours from now. And here is that first question. So you had that, you went through that period, which we're just going to say where Chris wanted all of his lieutenants to work with him in Santa Monica. So yeah. You separated yourself from that because it was a big move for you, and you got kids and family and stuff there.
Yeah, there's a little background here. Is that I was working with Chris at Digital Anvil, Chris and Aaron actually, and Tony, and a bunch of people. So we were making this game called Starlancer, and I went to England back and forth. Aaron and I crisscrossed back and forth. He'd be there, I'd be there. He'd be back and forth to Austin. And I think I missed my oldest son, Winglet, which everybody knows is Winglet. I was gone between 7 and 8 months of his first year of his life, and I missed his first steps. I missed like his first soccer goal. I just traveled a whole bunch for the company, and my wife was, she was upset about it, and probably I was too nose to the grindstone to really realize it. And so we had a talk after, and I promised her I wouldn't do it again. So as much as I love Star Citizen, as much as I freaking helped build that company and community and was all in on every bit of it, it was really kind of an easy choice. At the end of the day, it was an obvious choice but not an easy one, I guess. So yeah, and you can't blame Chris. It's his vision. This is his thing. He's doing it. He's doing it his way. And in order to be efficient, he needs everybody next to him that he can point a direction and say go, and just works out for him that way. So yeah, I chose to stay in Austin and do something else.
Yeah, and them being out there is what keeps me from going to work with them too. It's kind of tough.
I'm an Austin guy. I'm a Texas guy. There's a totally different vibe between cities. There's every city has a vibe, and I'm so much more a down to earth kind of Midwestern sort of feel. And so it sort of fits me here, and I think it's kind of the company we want to build here too.
Thank you all for bearing with me for that, because Eric is an amazing person, just like everybody else at CIG. And the fact that he was with them and now is starting his own company, I thought maybe I'd bring that to you, the Star Citizen community, so you could see what he's got in mind. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be filled with excitement and those tense moments where you think you're going to die, but you pull it off. It's going to be a great game. And I wish I could tell you the title. So from there, we move into the news for the last week. And the news was quite, let's put it this way, PAX East is on Friday. And what that means is that they take all of the stuff that they normally give us and put it into a big bowl and then just shove it in front of us on Friday night. Actually, they present it much better than that. It's actually presented like a gourmet 5-course meal, but we're going to have all that information released to us all at once. So PAX East means that we're going to be getting FPS demo. We're going to be able to see that new module that they're building into Arena Commander where you could actually land inside of an asteroid hangar. We're going to have elements of the social module and PU that are starting to permeate their way into the game, and a lot more. And that's about all I want to say, because I don't want to do a prediction this year because there's so much in this one. Just the FPS is like a whole new game that they're going to be releasing, right? We have the air combat type shooter. And now we're getting the ground combat type shooter. And eventually they're going to be tied into this one big piece that's the persistent universe. So for those of you that were wondering a little bit over 18 months ago, why am I giving money into this game? 18 months later, we're starting to see it come to fruition. And let me tell you, this is going to be a hell of a ride, and this is going to be wonderful. I can't wait to see what happens on Friday. So let's take a step back a week, before that Friday that's coming up, and that would be last Friday. And last Friday, CIG continued with the practice of giving us a free ship to fly. That ship is the Drake Interplanetary Cutlass Black. They also put the Cutlass Blue up for sale again, which of course is a limited edition ship, and it's specifically a police cruiser / bounty hunter ship, and it comes equipped with, it's going to get a major update, so I don't want to say what it comes equipped with. It comes pretty much right now, it has these cells on board, or jail cells, holding compartments for what would be little miniature pygmies, right? Not even pygmies, but miniature pygmies. But all that is getting worked out over in Foundry 42 in Manchester, England right now. And that Foundry 42, the Star Citizen design studio there, will be upgrading the Cutlasses now with the new modular system. I tried to put together something for y'all about that, and I think with the 2 interviews I had today, I may leave it out. But my idea is this. UEE SITREP is going to come back, as you'll see in the David Haddock interview that I'll be posting. And I'll be showing you a question from David Haddock's interview in just a few moments. And UEE SITREP is going to be an in-game universe, lore-based news show that will be reporting on all the things that are going on in the government and around the UEE space. And when the game goes live, we'll be reporting on some huge battles, which group is taking what, which organizations are prominent in which area. And that's my idea. And I'm going to need help on that. And I'm going to put that out to you all. I know that I like standing up in front of you, and I've got this green screen studio, but if you just want to try your hand at audio reporting and looking at the lore and putting that together, we could always use a voice, and I could put pictures up on the screen behind me, and we can do that. Think about it. I think it's going to be a fun little thing to do. And I know it sounds kind of weird right now, but in the end, it's probably going to be something that you like. Going into that lore aspect of it, I do 5 for Ben Lesnick every week, and that's been going for about 11 weeks now. And up behind me, you see a little bit of the latest show with Ben. He is amazing, and we're starting to get that, it takes a few shows to get what each other is about, and he's actually getting to understand the way I ask questions, and he's actually coming prepared and a lot more easygoing and not looking to give that quick answer. He's actually elaborating in detail about them. But I hold back the lore-based questions from him because he always looks at me and says, that's really more for David, that's really more for Will. And Will and David are the amazing writers behind the creation of the Star Citizen universe. And I've talked to David once. You can go way back into my community interviews section of my YouTube channel and watch that interview. It's one of the less watched ones, but it's one of the more interesting ones. David is truly an amazing mind when it comes to thinking all this stuff up. But I know that we all don't really get deep into the lore aspects of games. There's a couple of different play styles inside of a game like World of Warcraft. There's a questaholic like me that loves the lore behind it. And there's the PvP addict that just wants to get in there and beat people down. And I don't mean that negatively. I mean that in a fun sense. That's what they want to do. And somewhere in between that are the rest of the people that want to engage in that social contact, that social piece of the pie. And I know that there's a lot of role players out there that like to role play their character. So knowing how this game is getting built is very important. Knowing where it came from, what's this universe we're playing in, is extremely important for those people. And even if you don't want to be a role player, even if you don't want to read all the lore, David's interview is actually pretty incredible. And I'm going to play that one question for you right now. So right now, can you explain to us the government makeup what type of government is the UEE and where is it right now in its timeline? Is it in its decline or is it in its build-up or heyday?
The UEE is the United Empire of Earth. It's sort of the third iteration of humanity's government form since expanding into the stars. When they first started expanding into Mars, they sort of united because of sort of global problems, and they realized like they had this engine technology that allowed them to start looking into space and started terraforming. So they sort of unified in the United Nations of Earth was their sort of first iteration, and then as they started discovering jump points and they expanded outwards, and they started getting more planets, that title kind of ceased to be relevant because they started having different planets and it was not about nations anymore. And so they sort of transformed into United Planets of Earth, the UPE, and then it was the actions of a very ambitious military guy who sort of took control of the government, and under the sort of auspices of there was this horrible war with an alien species, and there were these Xi'an who were on the other side who were being very kind of cagey and things were very tense, and so he managed to kind of rile that sort of fear and marshal it into creating a new position in the government called the Prime Citizen, which of course he nominated himself to take. Right. And so it was very short order that he managed to sort of marginalize the other factions. It was sort of a tribunal system originally in the UPE. He managed to marginalize the other ones and sort of put all the power into himself. And so he became the sort of first despot of humanity, and then rebranded it as the United Empire of Earth. And then that went on for a couple of 100 years through his family, who were pretty bad, and then until they were finally overthrown. And although it's still known as the UEE, right now they're sort of trying to go back far the other way, so prove that they are not the bad despots that they were before. And so we're really sorry, we're better now. And but unfortunately, that's proving to be difficult. So right now, as it stands right now in the timeline, the UEE is sort of under a lot of strain. There's a lot of economic problems. They have sort of combat on one side with the Vandul, and then on the other side they have these sort of somewhat chilly but improving relationships with the Xi'an now. and there's sort of crime, and it's a lot of problems, and so they're trying to do their best, but there's just a lot of opportunities for corruption and crime and stuff like that. So there's sort of, you can feel the weight of the empire starting to strain. And so that's sort of where we're at right now.
Awesome. Very good, right? I really love talking to the people at CIG. They're just amazing people. And David is one of those people I've had an opportunity to, well, pretty much grab his ear when I was at CIG last year. I saw him this year, but I didn't interrupt him. They were talking about things I can't, I wasn't privy to. And I saw him at Dragon Con and got to spend a day and a half bumping into him a lot, and ate lunch and dinner with him a couple of times and asked him a bunch of questions. So I think that he is one of the pieces that are going to make this game truly unique and stand out. Chris's vision is being realized by having people like David and Ben Lesnick and so many other people. I could point out everybody up there, Forrest and Mark, and you can go through every single piece of the Santa Monica office, Austin office, Manchester, Frankfurt, and all the other people that contract outwards, and see how many amazing minds are involved with this. So I kind of asked David, and he half-heartedly agreed, and mainly that's because they're always so busy, but I'm going to try to do this segment once a month. I'm calling it 5 for the Loremaster, okay? And it will be either with David or Will, who are the two writers, like I said. All right, that's a lot, right? There wasn't a real lot of news this week, and I know I can dig deep into things like, the Orion. Big piece of news, right? Orion was released about 2 Fridays ago. And right in the middle of it, there was a lot of feedback about the placement of the crew compartment being on that port side. Or is that the starboard side? Can't remember where it was, but it actually got moved up on top. And the reasoning for it was they wanted to be able to see where they were going. That's important, right? So the premise behind this statement is not that they moved it. It's about how important our feedback is and why we need to ask questions, okay? So one thing I'm going to ask you to do is to please partake, whether it be in my channel, and ask me questions, ask both Ben and whoever else you want me to, and I'll find them and I'll put them on the air and get their answers. Or go into the forum threads and make sure you're always putting your constructive, professional, mature comments in there. They'll take them to heart, and look, they actually act on them, and that's incredible, and that's wonderful. All right, so I got out the couple of stories that we had this week. I'm going to roll right into what's on Sandy's Facebook, because that's important, right? She puts amazing photos out there, screenshots of things we don't get to see anywhere else, unless, of course, you're a subscriber. And as soon as I get James on the show next week, after all this PAX East stuff is going on, we'll tell you exactly why you want to be a subscriber. But there are amazing screenshots on her website, on her Facebook, that give us a little bit of a prelude to things that are going to be coming out. So let's go into what's on Sandy's Facebook right now. Welcome to another edition of What's on Sandy's Facebook, and this week we're going to be taking a look at just a few of the pictures that she's uploaded. Well, make that all. Here's one of the weapons that's a work in progress. Looking pretty cool. I think I've seen a couple of things that look like this in real life. Looks like it might be a sniper rifle. Hydra Propulsion is an in-game engine corporation, and they're fielding ideas about the logo here, so give your comments if you can. This is the Simpod, which will be in our hangars shortly. Hopefully, that is. I'm liking the design and can't wait to get in my own, although I'm claustrophobic. This next image is a medical facility. It's looking pretty dirty and beat up. I don't know if this is where I'm going to want to get treated after I'm injured. And of course, each week we get an image of Ben and Sandy on the set of Around the Verse. And this is a little bit different. Take a look in the background to look at the picture. And finally, a Behringer weapon. And Sandy likes to put these up, and I can't wait for the FPS module to come out because these weapons are looking sweet. Remember that each week I go over Sandy's images, but you can go out to her webpage and like it so you'll be able to see them as she posts them. And of course, I always like to end with what's on Sandy's Facebook, unless I have a ton of things to say. Today, I'm just going to say thank you to my viewers, the people that both share, comment, like, and share, because share is important, like is important, all of my episodes. But also the people that have given me both criticism that I was able to fix my show and the compliments that you do. Both of you are equally need to look at my show and receive this thank you for helping me to make it better. And I want to say thank you to my patrons who have helped me get my studio about 50% done. It's going to cost me another $2,000 to get it fully done. I've got to put some noise canceling stuff in here, and we have to replace that tiny little handy cam with a better camera for me to shoot the things I want to shoot. Especially, I want my whole body in the picture, not just this, right? All right, folks, and something else that you might have missed, no braces. And that's awesome, because I was telling myself I wanted to have them off for my 50th birthday, and that is April 1st. Mark it in your calendars. I'm just kidding. With that said, I guess we're going to end the show, all right? So you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.